And if I am able to do this, to make this movie, then the visions, they will end. Since its initial release in 2005, God of War has become a very successful franchise, spawning games across platforms and generations, and becoming one of the most recognizable franchises in game history. And even almost having a movie of its own. In fact, Amazon Prime announced its plans to adapt the Norse mythology games into a series, but we have nothing yet. So, what about the first games in Greek mythology? What if we make a movie out of them? Now, that's the topic for today's discussion. What if the original God of War game was turned into a 2-hour-long movie? For starters, we could speculate who could play Kratos. We would need a bald, strong man, and we have quite a few options already. Paul Levesque, better known as Triple H from the WWE, is a fan favorite for the role. Another one from the WWE is The Rock. Dave Bautista is also included, but an interesting choice would be Jason Momoa. The overall vibe of the movie would be a one-man army fighting and killing whatever comes his way, much like Rambo, John Wick, and Conan the Barbarian. And for that, and to be faithful to the games, it would be rated for adult audiences. With all that being said, we will now discuss the plot in detail. So grab a popcorn, get comfy, and let's dive into it.
The gods of Olympus have abandoned me. Now there is no hope.
And Kratos cast himself from the highest mountain in all of Greece. After 10 years of suffering, 10 years of endless nightmares, it would finally come to an end. Death would be his escape from madness. But it had not always been this way. Kratos had once been a champion of the gods.
The film opens much like the game, with Kratos standing on top of a cliff with no hope left until he decides to let himself fall. Then it would go back to 3 weeks earlier. A Greek fleet would be battling a furious storm when numerous Hydra heads rise from the water and start attacking the ships. Another ship would appear in the storm. Kratos would be on board preparing himself while they approached. His crew shot a rope that Kratos uses to slide down to the other ships. On arriving, one man would mock Kratos, saying the gods promised to send a champion for the rescue, but he would rather die than be saved by the ghost of Sparta. Different from the game, there would be no harpies or underworld soldiers attacking them, just the Hydra heads. And so Kratos would start battling the heads one by one. As he moved further, one of these heads would attempt to devour him, but Kratos would pry the mouth of that creature open with his own hands, freeing himself and defeating it. By reaching the captain's ship, the main Hydra head would appear. The monster challenged Kratos, and he would climb the mast to face it. As they battle, Kratos would swing and evade the bites with his blades, then climb on top of the Hydra and hurting its eyes. After impaling the monster for good, there would still be one task left for Kratos, as he needed the captain's key to lead them back to safety. He entered the Hydra's mouth and met the captain still hanging himself.
I didn't come back for you.
Kratos returns victorious, and the remaining crew cheers and celebrate. In the midst of the feast, Kratos would take 2 women to his chambers.
For no matter how much wine he consumed or how many women he took to his bed, nothing on earth could rid him of the horrors that plagued his mind.
Athena! 10 years, Athena. I have faithfully served the gods for 10 years. When will you relieve me of these nightmares?
We request one final task of you, Kratos. Your greatest challenge awaits in Athens, where even now my brother Ares lays siege as we speak. Athens is on the verge of destruction. It is the will of Ares my great city fall. Zeus has forbidden the gods from waging war on each other. That is why it must be you, Kratos. Only a mortal trained by a god has a chance at defeating Ares.
And if I am able to do this, to kill a god, then the visions, they will end?
Complete this final task, and the past that consumes you will be forgiven. Have faith, Kratos. The gods do not forget those who come to their aid.
Leaving the rotting carcass of the Hydra behind, Kratos set sail once more. His greatest challenge and freedom from his growing madness lay before him in the ancient city of Athens.
Until this point, the film would be around 10 to 15 minutes in. Are you enjoying it so far? Give a like and subscribe to support the channel. Upon reaching the city of Athens, Kratos encounters Minotaurs, but easily kills them with his blades into their throats. Kratos encounters many undead soldiers and other creatures as he progresses through the city, and soon he spots Ares riding his chariot in the distance. Kratos would climb a mountain for a better view of the gigantic army of undead marching towards Athens. Fueled by revenge, Kratos realized the magnitude of this task and would seek aid from the city's oracle.
God of war. I haven't forgotten you. For what you did that night, this city will be your grave.
On his way to the Oracle's temple, amid the chaos of battles, an old mysterious man would be digging a grave.
Good, my boy, good. Athena has chosen wisely. I knew it was so.
Who are you?
So, you have the blades, the skin as pale as the moon. You are the one indeed. Perhaps Athens will survive at that. But be careful. Don't want you dying before I'm done with this grave.
A grave? In the middle of a battle? Who will occupy it, old man?
You will, my son. Oh, I've got a lot of digging to do indeed. All will be revealed in good time. And when all appears to be lost, Kratos, I will be there to help.
Kratos would not pay much attention to him and would enter the palace through a hidden passage behind a statue, avoiding the soldiers outside only to find the oracle being carried away by harpies.
Help me!
Kratos would then follow and rescue her from almost falling from a hanging rope.
And with that act, Kratos set in motion the events that would lead to his downfall.
Kratos, as Athena herself has foretold. But you are late, perhaps too late to save Athens. Or is it Athens you have come to save?
No, I can't. We must not stop.
And when the Oracle looked into his soul, she saw a beast as well as a man. Once a captain in the Spartan army, Kratos had begun his command with only 50 soldiers. But soon his numbers grew to the thousands. His tactics were brutal, but effective. Drunk with power, he was feared by all, except one. His wife was the only one to brave his fury.
How much is enough, Kratos? When will it end?
When the glory of Sparta is known throughout the world.
The glory of Sparta. You did this for yourself.
His desire for conquest knew no bounds, but that which he desired would ultimately consume him.
By the gods, why would Athena send one such as you?
Stay out of my head!
Choose your enemies wisely, Kratos. Your brute strength alone will not be enough to destroy Ares. Only one item in the world will allow you to defeat a god. Pandora's box, which lies far beyond the walls of Athens, hidden by the gods across the desert to the east. But be warned, Kratos. Many have gone in search of Pandora's box. None have returned.
Leaving the palace, Kratos traverses a golden sword-shaped bridge and travels by horse until he arrives at the Desert of Lost Souls, where he spots a temple hidden in the desert sands. There was a statue of Athena that spoke to him. She says that Kronos, the last titan, wanders in the Desert of Lost Souls carrying Pandora's temple in his back as punishment by Zeus. Athena have gathered the power of her allies in Olympus to offer gifts to aid Kratos in his journey. Poseidon's gift was the power to breathe underwater. Athena provided the head of Medusa to freeze his enemies. Zeus offered one of his thunderbolts. Artemis granted her hunting blade, which could track the location of anyone nearby, and Hades bestowed the ability to command armies of souls. She warns him that each gift can only be used once and for a short time.
You must find the sirens, Kratos. Only they can guide you to Kronos, the Titan.
A Titan lives?
Kronos is the last. Zeus has commanded him to wander the desert endlessly, the temple of Pandora chained to his back, until the swirling sands rip the very flesh from his bones. Stay true to the song of the siren, Kratos. Your journey begins here. Pray it leads you back to Athens, with Pandora's box.
Until this point, the film should not exceed 40 to 50 minutes. As Kratos enters that temple, 3 women flying and singing like birds suddenly attack him, but he simply breaks their necks. And then he would blow a big horn to summon Kronos.
Kronos, the last of the mighty Titans, emerged from the desert sands. On his back, Pandora's temple awaited, massive and patient, ready to challenge all who went in search of its guarded treasure. For 3 days, Kratos climbed the sheer walls of the mountain. He knew he would either recover Pandora's box or perish inside the cursed temple, never to return to the world of man.
Arriving at the summit, Kratos encounters the Body Burner. The first man who attempted to retrieve Pandora's box now turned into an undead and cursed to burn the bodies of those who have failed. He's impressed by Kratos' determination and lets him enter the temple. By reading from a book altar, a door would open on its own and Kratos would step into the rings of Pandora. Kratos enters the only open door he finds, which leads to a long hallway with spike crushers. He would calculate the right timing and then reach the other side unharmed, pulling a lever that opens another door from the rings. Behind that second door, Kratos would find a room with blades moving across the floor, but it poses no challenge for the Spartan. The following room was a vast area in which more and more monsters entered from other doors. Kratos would tap into Athena's power, receiving a green glow around his body to wield the head of Medusa and freeze all the monsters. But the floor was unstable, and under its new weight, it reached its breaking point, opening into two parts and dropping everything below. Except for Kratos, of course, he used his blades to anchor himself to the ceiling at the last moment. Moving to the next challenge, there's a room with a big Atlas statue carrying a globe, a closed door, and a broken lever. Kratos would take a corpse's hand and improvise a handle to activate the mechanism. The statue started moving and throwing the globe against the closed door, opening a hole in it. That hole revealed an open-air tomb of the son of the architect, with a memorandum that said, "My youngest son will laugh no more, death in the service of his father. Death in the service of the gods. The building of this temple has claimed his life, and its secrets are lost in his head. May you be lucky enough that it not claim yours." Kratos would take a moment to reflect on those words before opening the tomb and brutally detaching the head from the body. That being done, a passage would reveal itself before the tomb. Kratos goes down to it, meeting another long hallway of spike crushers with a conveyor floor. The challenge seemed harder than the previous, but not for Kratos. By reaching the other side, Kratos would be back to the first room of the Rings of Pandora. He then finds a door with a skull symbol and opens it by using the architect's son's head. Stepping into the inner circle, Kratos would hear a loud noise coming closer before seeing a gigantic roller heading in his direction. He ran, but there was no place to hide before he got rolled over by it. Thinking about a solution, Kratos noticed a passage above. He climbed the wall to jump on the roller and walked on top of it. He then jumps into the inner circle room, which he finds is filled with water. There was a skull door leading to the innermost circle, but it would not open without a key. Still looking around, Kratos finds a hole on the floor and follow its tunnels. He would see a passage ahead, but as soon as he started swimming, metal thorns were moving to close it. Kratos swam as fast as he could and passed it through, but in front of him, there were ruins of a labyrinth of submerged tunnels. He would have to move fast to find the right way out before losing his breath. He followed a blue light through the labyrinth, but it was revealed to be a naiad, a nymph in the shape of a blue woman who grabs Kratos and kisses him, draining all the remaining air from his lungs. Nearly unconscious, Kratos has no alternative than to tap into Poseidon's powers. Acquiring a bluish glow, he becomes able to breathe underwater. He pushed the naiad away and continued to swim. Other naiads followed him, attempting to kiss him, but they were powerless against him. The more he moves, the redder the water gets until he's swimming in real blood with many bodies floating. He finds a place to emerge and the power of Poseidon leaves him. In this new room, there was a big statue of Hades with the inscription, "Hades demands blood sacrifice to pass." Immediately after that, centaurs, undeads, and all sorts of monsters started to enter the area. And Kratos proceeds to kill each one of them in a fast-paced action scene. Just as he finishes, a light reveals a new challenge. Massive fireballs rolling down and 8 dead ends doors with just one way out. He accepts the challenge and moves fast, dodging the incoming fireballs and opening the nearest door just to find monsters are waiting for him. Kratos retreats, and with little time to think, he taps into Artemis's power, which grants him the ability to sense all nearby enemies, and he's able to sense the monsters behind every door except one. That was the door he headed toward. It's more likely that this next challenge would only be present in the director's cut of the movie because this part was censored in many versions of the game. That would be the challenge of the imprisoned men in cages, and Kratos would have to burn one of them alive to proceed.
On your humanity, don't do this, please!
After doing that, the next room would be the room of the giant metal Minotaur. As they fight, Kratos manages to destroy its armor and leave him unconscious, giving him time to look for a way to open a giant door. But it would not be enough, as the monster gives a powerful bellow and charges madly at Kratos. The Spartan climbs onto the monster's back in an attempt to tame it and notices a dart shooter right above them. He then lures the monster and, in a very thrilling moment, kills the Minotaur and opens a passage through the locked door. A staircase would lead to the tomb of the second son of the architect. Just like with his brother, Kratos would decapitate him, and a water passage would be revealed leading him again to the first room of the Rings of Pandora. Using the skull in the underwater door made it drain, opening the innermost area with a gigantic statue of Zeus. The statue starts to rise and Kratos takes a leap into the room in time. In this new scene, Kratos reads from an altar, "The cliffs of madness lie before you." In my grieving, I fear I may have designed a maze with no true way out. If I'm right, may the cruel, uncaring gods show you the way. Pathos Verdes III, chief architect, and once a loyal subject of the gods. As Kratos kills monsters and traverses cliffs and traps, his troubled mind drifts back, haunted by memories of his past. We would be transported into a flashback of Kratos' past, when he was on the verge of being defeated by the barbarians, and how he surrendered his soul in service of Ares, thus gaining the Blades of Chaos.
The sky split apart, and the god of war stepped through. Descending from Olympus, he saw the makings of a god in a mere mortal. Ares would save Kratos. He would turn him into the perfect warrior, his servant on Earth. Only a simple pledge of loyalty was required.
My life is yours, Ares. From this day, I shall carry forth your will.
And his fate was sealed. As promised, Ares rescued his new disciple, bringing forth the power of a god, destroying those who would slaughter Kratos and his men. As for Kratos, no mere sword and shield would befit the newest servant of the god of war. The Blades of Chaos, forged in the foulest depths of Hades. Once attached, the chains remained so, chained and seared to the flesh, a part of the bearer's body, a permanent reminder of Kratos' pledge. In return, ultimate power. The rage of Ares exploded from within. But soon, he would learn the true cost of such power. A cost too high even for Kratos to pay.
Wretched beast! I know who it is you serve. Return to your master.
With them, he would kill many people in pursuit of glory and power, and no matter how much his wife confronted him, he would not stop. All that led him to attack a village that built a temple for Athena against Ares' wishes. There, he would take the lives of his own wife and daughter by accident, and to be cursed to carry the ashes of his family upon his skin, becoming the ghost of Sparta.
He fell before Kratos and the soldiers who followed him on his unending path of conquest, all in the name of his master. Those who offered resistance of any kind were dealt with quickly.
They've built this temple to offer prayers to Athena! This entire village stands as an affront to Lord Ares! Burn this village! Burn it to the ground!
Emboldened by the god of war, Kratos' army was ruthless, feared throughout the world for their brutality. All that mattered was conquest in the name of Kratos, their great leader, who had become near invincible. He feared nothing. But there was something about this temple, something forbidden. All his instincts told him he should never cross its threshold. Never step inside.
Beware, Kratos. The dangers in the temple are greater than you know.
But the village oracle's warning fell on deaf ears. His ambition would not be denied. All who opposed him would die. In that instant, the glory he had reveled in turned to horror. The image of his two final victims would stay with him for all his days. With that act, Kratos knew he could no longer serve his master. He had but one calling now, the death of Ares. He would murder the god of war.
Ares, you will die for what you did that night.
Kratos would realize the Cliffs of Madness were messing with his head and would regain focus, realizing he arrived at a large structure, the architect's tomb. Inside, he finds a large table and the remaining dead family of the architect. But Kratos could care less. He decapitates the man and uses his head to open the door behind them. At last, it was there, Kratos stood before Pandora's box, becoming the first mortal to ever retrieve it from the temple. However, his task was far from over. The box was heavy and he would have to carry it all the way back to Athens. And he begins to do so.
After 1,000 years, Pandora's box was at last freed of its confines. Kratos had found the means to destroy the god of war. Far away in Athens, Ares knew Kratos had succeeded in his quest.
So, little Spartan, you've recovered Zeus's precious box, but you will not live long enough to see it opened. I will see to that. Goodbye, Spartan. You will rot in the depths of Hades for all eternity.
As the life began to leave Kratos, his thoughts returned to that fateful night. Even in death, the memories, the visions would not fade. For how could he forget spilling the blood of his own family? A cruel trick orchestrated by the god of war.
My wife, my child, how? They were left in Sparta.
You are becoming all I'd hoped you'd be, Kratos. Now, with your wife and child dead, nothing will hold you back. You'll become even stronger. You will become death itself.
But as the flames consumed the temple, Kratos realized his true enemy was the god who once saved his life. The same god who had now taken everything from him.
Ares!
From this night forward, the mark of your terrible deed will be visible to all. The ashes of your wife and child will remain fastened to your skin, never to be removed.
And with that curse, all would know him for the beast he had become. His skin white with the ash of his dead family. The ghost of Sparta had been born. In the end, in death, he had failed. As the minions of Ares claimed Pandora's box, Kratos' life faded, and his cursed soul was cast into the fires of Hades.
Instead of falling like in the game, Kratos would already be carried away by the Red River Styx, making it more similar to the myths and to the third game. Kratos bumped into that same captain killed by the Hydra. He was holding himself not to be carried away by the current, but Kratos pushed him away and held on to it himself.
Complete his quest.
Let go, fool! You won't drag me down to that cursed river!
There is a task left for me above. I will see it completed.
You again? Oh.
Then he would use the gift from Hades, the souls from the underworld, to bring him back to the living. And as he did, he would emerge in that same grave the mysterious gravedigger made for him on his way to the Oracle.
Too soon, I only finished digging just a moment ago.
Who are you?
Now that is an interesting question. But for now, you must hurry. Athens needs you.
But how did you know I would...
Athena isn't the only god keeping watch on you, Spartan. Complete your task, Kratos, and the gods will forgive your sins.
By doing this, we would skip the painful Hades part. The whole Pandora's Temple section would last from 50 minutes to an hour, leaving 20 to 30 minutes for the final battle and conclusion. Back from the dead, Kratos would proceed to take revenge on Ares.
Return, but too late. Ares has taken Athens. There is no more hope. No hope.
Kratos had traversed the desert of lost souls, bested the deadly traps of Pandora's temple, and escaped Hades itself. There was but one task left.
Zeus! Do you see now what your son can do? You cast your favor on Athena, but her city lies in ruins before me. And now, even Pandora's box is mine. Would you have me use it against Olympus itself?
Kratos, returned even from the underworld.
Is this the best you can do, Father? You send a broken mortal to defeat me, the god of war?
After thousands of years, Pandora's box was finally opened. The power of the gods unleashed.
You are still just a mortal. Every bit as weak as the day you begged me to save your life.
I am not the same man you found that day. The monster you've created has returned to kill you.
Kratos was expecting open combat, but Ares uses this purple power, which are the powers of Deimos and Phobos, invading Kratos' mind and recreating the place that haunted Kratos for the past 10 years.
Many ways to kill a mortal, Kratos. Flesh that burns, bones that break. But to break a man's spirit is to truly destroy him. Do you recognize this place, Spartan? The location of your greatest failure? Perhaps there is a chance you can undo the deeds of the past.
Kratos! What's happening? Where are we?
By the gods, can this be real? Ares, there is nothing you can put in my way to stop me. I will save my family.
Having another opportunity to save his family, the real Kratos would stop at nothing, even meaning fighting himself many times.
Kratos, please take us home.
You gave them up in your quest for ultimate power. There is a price to pay for everything you gain.
Not that price. I didn't want them to die.
No price is too high for what I offered.
And you rejected me.
A god!
Now, you will have no power.
No magic! All that is left for you is death!
Oh, not again.
You should have joined me, Kratos. You should have been stronger.
By the gods.
The battle was not over. The gods, it seemed, had a final gift for Kratos.
I still have allies in Olympus, Ares. Now, you will see how strong I am.
Ares removes his Greek soldier garments to assume combat form, going all out for the fight, just the way we did in the game.
Your final lesson is at hand.
Their final battle would begin with them clashing blades in the sea and using all their godly powers against each other. After going through so much, Kratos would not let himself be defeated until he got his revenge.
Remember, Kratos, it was I who saved you in your time of greatest need.
I haven't forgotten, Ares. I remember how you saved me.
That night, I was trying to make you a great warrior.
You succeeded.
Kratos had done the impossible. A mortal defeating a god. Ares was no more. The city had been saved and would thrive again. The same could not be said for Kratos, for as he sought to rebuild his soul with the help of the gods, the truth was revealed to him.
Athena, rid me of the memories that haunt me still.
You have done well, Kratos. Though we mourn the death of our brother, the gods are indebted to you. We promised your sins would be forgiven, and so they are. But we never promised to take away your nightmares. No man, no god could ever forget the terrible deeds you have done.
In the end, knowing the visions of his past would never leave him, Kratos made his way to the bluffs overlooking the Aegean Sea.
The gods of Olympus have abandoned me. Now there is no hope.
The fate of Kratos was not as it seemed. The gods had other plans. Borne aloft like a feather, Kratos found himself risen from the sea and placed on solid earth.
You will not die this day, Kratos. The gods cannot allow one who has performed such service to perish by his own hand. Ares' tactics were brutal. His path of destruction had to be stopped. But now there is an empty throne in Olympus, and a new god of war is needed. Take these stairs, Kratos. They lead to your ultimate reward.
From that point forward, throughout the rest of time, whenever men rode forth to battle for good cause or for evil, they did so under the watchful eye of the man who had defeated a god. They were driven forward by Kratos, the mortal who had become the new god of war.
And that concludes the movie. What are your thoughts on this? Did you like it? What would you change? Leave it in the comments below. Also, consider giving a like and subscribing to help our channel, and we can bring more content like this in the future.